Good morning from Vatican City. We are here for the start of the papal conclave. The eyes of the world will be locked on the Sistine Chapel from the moment the cardinals enter a short time from now. A short time after they enter, the chapel is then sealed, the cardinals inside, and then we wait until the famous white smoke emerges from the chimney, signaling the newly elected pope will soon be revealed to the world. At this moment, 133 cardinals from around the world are about to take part in a procession leading into the chapel. 108 of the electors were actually appointed by Pope Francis. This is the most diverse conclave ever. The cardinals are from 71 different countries, including 10 from the United States. They will enter the chapel this morning, the doors closing behind them, and they will begin the centuries-old ritual of selecting the next pope to succeed the late Pope Francis. Now, the cardinals have been holding meetings since last week here at the Vatican, some of them meeting for the first time, each cardinal hoping to learn which one of them has the qualities to become the 267th pope to lead the Catholic Church. All voting cardinals are sequestered. They must surrender their cell phones. There will be no messages or outside communication of any kind, in fact. The cardinals will be sworn to secrecy, and you'll see that play out just moments from now here at the Vatican. Their staff and attendants also taking vows of secrecy. In fact, the cardinals face excommunication if they break their oath. And for all of the beautiful soaring sights Rome has to offer, take a look. That small temporary chimney at the Sistine Chapel is all anyone will be focused on until a decision is made, when the cardinals reach a two-thirds majority inside that chapel. Black smoke, of course, signals there is still no pope. White smoke revealing a new pope has been elected. They'll use chemicals to make sure the shade of the smoke is distinct enough to discern white or black, yes or no, do we have a new pope? Because there has been confusion in the past. A short time after we see the white smoke and the bells toll here in Rome, the new pope will emerge on the balcony right here behind us in St. Peter's Square, greeting the crowds, the faithful in the square, the new leader of the world's 1.4 billion Catholics. Inside the chapel, take a look at the images this morning. The tables are in place, the chairs are now set, and when the voting begins, each cardinal will write their choice and place their ballot one by one inside an urn at the front of the chapel. Each cardinal bowing to the altar and then returning to his seat. They will cast secret ballots up to 4 times a day, 2 votes in the morning, 2 votes in the afternoon. Now, today they're expected to vote once later this afternoon. The ballots are burned after the voting sessions conclude, but immediately burned if a pope is elected. Again, a two-thirds majority is needed to elect a new pope. 89 votes is the magic number inside that chapel. And when they cross that threshold, we will see the white smoke. And inside, the white papal garments come next. They are hanging in the so-called Room of Tears, where the new pope will come to change and pray before being introduced to the world and perhaps even shed a tear under the weight of his new role. Before being sequestered, the cardinals were pressed by reporters from all over the world, the faithful, following their messages in public and on social media, looking for any clues about which direction cardinals are leaning in for a sign of the possible papal contenders and how long it could take to make a final decision. Will they elect a progressive humanitarian pope similar to Francis, or will they choose a more conservative leader focused on traditional values, the traditional teachings of the Church? One cardinal telling our James Longman here at the Vatican that if the conclave extends beyond Friday night, it will mean something unexpected has happened. We should remember that Pope Francis was elected in 2 days, 5 ballots. Pope Benedict before him was elected in 2 days as well, 4 ballots. But these cardinals, I remind you, are from all over the world. They must get to know each other, so there's no telling how long this could take. And in fact, in looking back at the history of these conclaves, the longest conclave in church history took almost 3 years, 1,006 days in the 13th century. And of course, we're not looking to beat that record here in Rome this time around. I do want to show you the extraordinary position we have here at ABC News. Right here behind me, you can actually see it. This side right here. Those are the velvet drapes that they actually just put up just a couple of days ago here. That's the famous balcony where the new pope will emerge a short time after we see that white smoke. And of course, the question, and we'll talk about it here this morning, is how soon do we think we can see that white smoke? How long will it take to elect a new pope for the Catholic Church? Our team is here at the Vatican and across Rome, and I'm so happy to have Lindsay Davis here with us. Father James Martin is back with us. We've got Terry Moran, James Longman, Maggie Rulli, and our whole team out across the Vatican. And Lindsay, you can feel the excitement here. You can also sense the uncertainty about which way this could go. And just because so many were appointed by Pope Francis, it doesn't necessarily mean the new pope will be in the mold of Francis.
You're exactly right. The excitement really is palpable. So many anticipating that white smoke. really a universal symbol that needs no translation. It's been 12 years since we last experienced a conclave, and really every time this College of Cardinals meets, it's to answer one fundamental question, and that is, are we going to have change, or are we going to have continuity for the head of the church and the 1.4 billion Catholics around the world? As you mentioned, David, while Pope Francis appointed many of the cardinals here today, there are some who felt he was too unpredictable, too progressive, and so they may not necessarily want that continuation. At the same time, you mentioned how this is the most diverse College of Cardinals ever. He was actually the first pope to appoint more cardinals from outside of Europe. And so that will be very interesting to see. There are people who are suggesting, because you have the fastest growth in the Catholic Church in Africa, in the Americas, will we perhaps see a pope of color? People have said that there are critics who say that it's too soon, that the church is not ready. We'll see in perhaps the coming hours and coming days.
Yeah, it'll be a fascinating couple of days here. And in reaching out to the far corners of the world, Pope Francis was given so much credit for broadening the church, naming those new cardinals. But at the same time, Father Martin, in many of those parts of the world, it's a more conservative Catholic church. So that's a bit of the irony of Pope Francis broadening the church, but again, us not knowing how this is going to go.
Well, that's true. And in certain parts of, for example, sub-Saharan Africa, Latin America, these are more conservative, you could say, or traditional cardinals. And usually when he was raising up cardinals in new places, it was really as a nod to those places to say, you know, you're an important part of the church, right? And it's not simply for the person or their beliefs, right? I mean, they all believe in the faith, but to raise up this kind of far-flung church. And that doesn't mean, as we were saying, that all these new cardinals that Pope Francis has named are all in lockstep with him.
We're looking at live pictures right now from the Vatican as we await the cardinals making that famous procession from the Pauline Chapel to the Sistine Chapel, not far from where they are right now. You can see the Swiss Guard outside the chapel. Inside, you can see the tables are now set. They line the room, and in front of each chair there is the name of one of the 113 cardinals, 133 cardinals that will be deciding the next pope. And again, we mentioned that 108 of them have been appointed by Pope Francis along the way. 5 of the electors were appointed by Pope John Paul II, 22 by Pope Benedict, and again, 108 by Pope Francis. You have to be under 80 to actually be inside that room. And Father Martin, what's the reasoning behind that? I know that that change came, what, in 1970 or so? And what were they trying to accomplish there?
Yeah, I think to avoid, you know, what you might call a gerontocracy, where the oldest of the old are the ones that have a say. And it's a nod. I mean, in the church, you know, under 80 is considered young. It's a nod to having something of a more youthful composition of the electors, and also, you know, with an eye to, you know, just having someone who's also mentally there.